2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 9. 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 9. The title of the message for today is "Who are the real killers in Nigeria?" Now that topic in itself will immediately tell us that what we are going to talk about this morning as we go into the Word of God are serious issues. The title of the message is "Who are the real killers in Nigeria?" I will read 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 9. "Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon." If one should ask us who killed Uriah, we will probably say the Ammonites killed him in battle. He went to battle for Israel with the other soldiers and he fell. But God says no. The Ammonites did not kill him. That it was the king sitting in Jerusalem who used the sword of the children of Ammon to kill Uriah. In effect, as far as God is concerned, Uriah did not die in battle. He was murdered by David. We shall see how this is relevant to us in Nigeria today. I will give us an illustration. In fighting evil in the human society, criminologists, those who fight crime, identified 3 elements of a crime. And they say for any crime to take place, those 3 elements must be in place. The first one is the object. The item that is either to be stolen or to be destroyed. The object could be money, it could be jewelries, it could be land, it could be a vehicle, or it could be a house to be destroyed, or a company to be destroyed. There must be an object that is the target of that crime. Number 2, there must be a motive. There must be a reason why that object is going to be stolen or destroyed or vandalized, as the case may be. The motive could be greed. The motive could be lack. The motive could be envy. The motive could be anger. But there must be a reason. And then number 3 element, the third element, there must be an opportunity. There must be the enabling environment that will make it possible for the thief or the criminal to operate and escape. That one is very crucial. Operate and escape. No thief will steal. No criminal will operate if he knows he's going to be arrested. If he knows he's going to be apprehended. No criminal will operate. As a matter of fact, criminals have been known to abort an operation after they have started it, and then they discover that their chances of escaping are very slim. In such situations, the criminals have been known to shout, "Abort, abort, abort," which means escape, stop, don't go ahead with what the crime that they plan to do, let them escape. No criminal, no thief, no fraudster will operate if he knows that he will be apprehended. So the criminologists went further and they attached values to these three elements. And in their experience, they say the object to be stolen is 10%, carries a value of 10% in any criminal situation. The motive for stealing or for destroying it carries another 10%. The opportunity that the criminal has to commit that crime is 80%. 80%. So I will take that again for emphasis, that the three elements of a crime, which are object, motive, and opportunity, those three elements must be in place before a crime will take place. Criminologists attach values: 10% to motive, 10% to object to be stolen, and 80% to the opportunity that is given to the criminal to operate. Therefore, in any crime scene, in any crime situation, the person that actually carries the largest blame is the person who provides the opportunity for the crime to take place. That fellow carries 80% of the blame. Usually, in a crime situation, people focus on the thief or on the fraudster. They focus on the criminal who executes it. Criminologists say no. The person attention should be on is the fellow who created the opportunity. The person whose negligence permitted that crime to take place. Therefore, when criminologists are fighting crime and they are planning to stop crime, they identify the opportunities that can allow a crime to take place. Whether it is a theft, whether it is murder, whether it is arson, whatever the crime may be, once you eliminate the opportunity, there will be no crime. Because all around us are objects to be stolen. All around us are motives in people's heart to steal. But where there is no opportunity, there is no theft. When people fence their houses and they put electric wire on top and then they lock the gate and still put guard dogs inside the house, they are eliminating opportunities. Opportunities that will be shot against the would-be thief. If that fence is not there, if that guard dog is not there, then the thief has the opportunity. So if somebody now takes a guard dog in a house and locks up the guard dog in the cage, like somebody did in Port Harcourt a few years ago to one of our brothers, The brother was working in Shell, and he built his house, had a lot of guard dogs, and the security man colluded with the thieves in the neighborhood. And in the middle of the night, he locked up the dogs in their cage and opened the door for the thieves. And the thieves came, the thieves robbed them. Of course, they handed him over, that security man over, to the police. Now, those thieves were not the criminal. It was that security man who created the opportunity for them to operate. Now, why are we sharing this? All over Nigeria, there is bloodshed. All over Nigeria, people are kidnapped. It has reached an epidemic proportion that every day people will be killed, and not in small numbers. Every day people will be kidnapped. All manners of atrocities are taking place. We have a government that is nothing but criminal enterprise. Nigeria has become a massive crime scene where governance is a criminal enterprise. And the first question we need to look at, going by this illustration of fighting crime, is who created the opportunity? How can these things be? Nigeria has 389 ethnic nationalities. 389. Divided into two races. The Negroid race and the Negro race. The Negroid are the Fulani and the Shua Arabs. There is an ethnic group in the northeast called the Shua Arabs. They are Nigerians. They are distinct from Kanuri. They are not Kanuri. The Shua Arab is different from Kanuri. Kanuri is pure Negro. Same as Hausa is pure Negro. But Fulani is not Negro. Fulani is Negroid. Shua Arab is Negroid. Now, only one ethnic group, and it is an immigrant group, the Fulani, has turned Nigeria upside down. So much insecurity is traceable to the Fulani. And whenever a decision is to be taken that will be in the interest of the country, you will suddenly hear the North does not agree. The North has a different position. The North is of a different conviction. And people used to think of the North as everybody living in the North. It has now dawned on people, including the Hausas, that the North does not refer to them. The North only refers to Fulani. Whenever you read in the newspaper, Northern interest, Northern caucus, Northern position, it is just put Fulani interest, Fulani position, Fulani caucus. The North refers to Fulani. The Hausas have now realized, rather painfully, that there is nothing like Hausa Fulani tribe in Nigeria. That was used to deceive everybody. So they rode on the massive population of the Hausas to make themselves strong. Now that the Fulanis are dealing with Hausas, seriously, a woman, Hajia Kaltum Alumbe Jitami, that's her name, Alumbe Jitami. She's a self-proclaimed emancipator of the Hausa people. The woman is the one mobilizing resistance of the Hausa people now against the Fulani. There is open conflict, almost getting to a war situation between the Hausas and Fulanis in Nigeria. The press is keeping these things quiet. Alumbe Jitami said 7 million Hausas were killed in the 8 years of Muhammadu Buhari. That is what she alleged. And 7 million is more than the 6 million Hitler of the Jews Hitler killed during the Second World War. And the whole world was horrified. Alumbe Jitami said 7 million Hausa people. So if you go online and you encounter some Facebook pages of Hausa people, most of their conversation is in Hausa language, but those of them who translate it into English, you will be horrified by the things that they are writing, the things they are saying, and they are determined now to break the yoke of the Fulani upon the Hausa people. Anyway, that is just an illustration to show you the seriousness of what we are talking about this morning. There are 389 ethnic nationalities in Nigeria. Only one, the Fulani, the Negroid race, has made the country insecure, will not allow a new constitution to be put in place, made sure that there is something called quota system, there is something called federal character, there is something called the 1999 Constitution. All those issues that hinder progress because it suits them to be in control. If you have anything on your land in any part of Nigeria, you have to go to Abuja for permit. Everything is controlled, centralized in Abuja, and the over-centralization is hindering development and progress. To now make it worse, killers now arrived. Fulani headsmen, bandits, terrorists, insurgents, all of them are the same, using different names. Then you might ask the question, how can one ethnic group make life unbearable for 388 other ethnic nationalities? Are they that large? No, they are not up to 15 million population. In fact, if you call Fulani 15 million, you are exaggerating. It's an exaggeration. The Hausas are much larger than them. The Yoruba ethnic group, the Yoruba tribe is much larger. The Igbo tribe is much larger. Igala is larger. Not to talk of other, the Efik, the Ibibio, talk about the Kalabari, talk about the Tiv, talk about Nupe, talk about Kanuri. How come one ethnic group is making life unbearable for the others? As Christians, we need to look at our Christianity not just from the perspective of making heaven, but also we must always remember we are salt of the earth and we are light of the world. That while we are in this world, we have a role to play to make sure that there is order, there is decency, there is righteousness. And it is from that perspective that we are engaging these issues. That the church, the Christian community has a role to play. And for us to be able to play that role to restore righteousness, stability, and balance to Nigeria, we must understand the issues. Many of us do not understand the issue that is at play in Nigeria. So we are blaming the criminals. We are blaming the terrorists. We are blaming the headsmen. We are blaming the insurgents. Now, from what we have shared this morning about the three elements of a crime, what we need to look at are who are those people creating the opportunities for the Fulani to do what Fulani is doing. Who are the people creating the opportunities for the herdsmen to do what the herdsmen are doing, what Boko Haram is doing, what insurgents are doing, what the bandits are doing? Who are the people creating the opportunities for them to operate? Who is carrying 80% of the blame of the bloodshed in Nigeria? And that will answer our question, which is the title of this message: who are the real killers in Nigeria? I have identified three of them. Number one, the traditional rulers of the indigenous ethnic nationalities. Remember, we mentioned there are two races in Nigeria: the Negroid and the Negro. We are Negro, pure African stock. Negro. Our traditional rulers. That's number one. Number two, our religious leaders, particularly the church leaders. Unfortunately so. Particularly our church leaders. And then number three, our politicians. The politicians representing the Negroes. They constitute the majority in the National Assembly, in the Senate, as well as in the House of Representatives. Now, how are they creating the opportunity? Why will they be held responsible? Because our leaders carry the DNA of the African tribal chief who sold his people into slavery during the era of slave trade in exchange for gunpowder, a bottle of gin, mirror, this mirror that we all carry about, and clothing material, the one which we now call Ankara. The African tribal chief sold his people. The white man did not just come in and carried Africans away as slaves to America, to Europe, to South America. The African tribal chief gave him authority to take them. In some instances, they captured the people waiting for the slave traders. And the slave traders will pay them with gin, give them mirror, give them clothes, and they will tell them, you can carry our people away as slaves. Now that mentality is the mentality of leadership that is greedy, leadership that does not care about its followers, so long as it is satisfied, so long as it lives a life of opulence, a life of indulgence at the expense of the people that he is leading. So long as you have such a leader, then the people will be oppressed, the people will be intimidated, the people will be killed, and the leader will not say anything. And that is what is going on in Nigeria. Let me give you an example. There is something today called constituency allowance in the National Assembly. Constituency allowance. Before, it used to be around 200 million naira. 200 million naira is given to the legislators to go and do projects in their various constituents. Now, the question you want to ask is that, what is the responsibility of the state in funding the campaign of a legislator, what is the responsibility of the state? The legislator is a politician. If the next election is coming, he's supposed to arrange his own money, arrange his own resources to campaign. Why should the money of the state be given to the legislator? Number two, the job of the legislator is to make laws. His job is not to execute projects. The legislator in the National Assembly, his responsibility is to make laws for the country. There are 3 tiers of government that execute projects. 1, the executive in the federal arm of government, the state, and the local government at the grassroots. Now, you are giving the job of the local government to a legislator, and you are giving the legislator money from the federation account to go and do it. It used to be 200 million, as I said before. A few days ago, a politician in Bosun State, in a viral video, I have the video, the politician stated at an open meeting, openly, that since Tinubu became president and subsidy on fuel was removed, which means the citizens started buying fuel at 900 naira a liter. There was a time it was 1,000 naira a liter, from 197 naira that Buhari left it. That from that time, the constituency allowance for the legislators was increased to 1 billion naira to the members each. For the members of the House of Rep, 1 billion each of them, and for the senators, 2 billion naira to go and do project that is not the business of the legislator, projects that are the jobs of local government chairmen, local government councillors, the responsibility of the local government. You are now using state money to fund politicians. Now the question is this: ask yourself, you are a constituent. Each one of us will belong to a constituency. Which of our legislators has done any project that we can say this project cost 1 billion naira? Or a senator did a project and you will say this project cost 2 billion naira and it's for the use of the people? Which one of them? Because the money is not meant for project. The money is payment to the African tribal chief to keep his mouth shut while his people are being killed. While Fulani herdsmen are roaming all over the country with AK-47. When bandits are kidnapping, when insurgents are destroying villages, displacing people, taking over their lands, their politicians keep quiet. They don't call the presidency to order. They don't call the army to order. They do not call the police to order. Now the people started clamoring for a new constitution. Instead of giving them a new constitution, the politicians of the Negro race, they are amending the 1999 constitution that the people say they don't want, that it is not their constitution. It was imposed by the military. The politicians do nothing. Those are the political leaders of the Negro race. they are the ones creating the opportunity for the bloodshed. Then you come to the church leaders. We have spoken about this. We have written about this. Our church leaders collect bribe. In fact, I heard some things a few days ago, like Paul wrote, it is not lawful to mention. I can't even talk to anybody about it because of the church leaders that are involved. Because they've started collecting money to bring Tinubu back in 2027. It's not that they are going to. They have started collecting money. We saw what they did in 2023. Christian Association of Nigeria rolled out the red carpet for Tinubu at the National Christian Center. They welcomed him. In fact, it was as if he was the candidate of the church. They sat down, they gave him 11-point agenda, they took photographs with him. He came with the retinue of his APC members, including Shetima. All the Muslim politicians, all of them, they came inside the National Christian Center. Not one Christian politician was welcomed at the National Mosque. Not one. There were 18 presidential candidates in 2023 election. 11 of them were Christians. Not one of those 11 Christian presidential candidates was welcomed by the church leaders at the National Christian Center. In fact, when Peter Obi went to the National Christian Center, he was alone. No church leader, no CAN official was there to welcome him. The photographs are online. But when Tinubu went, the church leaders were, the president of CAN was there, the vice president of CAN was there, the heads of the blocks were there, the directors, all of them were there. You think it is because they like Tinubu? The same thing when Atiku went, they welcomed him. They welcomed the Muslims, Christian leaders, but they did not welcome the Christian presidential candidates. You think it is because they like the Muslims? They are African tribal leaders. Now, people are complaining. The church leaders are not talking. The CAN is not talking. PFN is not talking. They are killing Christians. How are they going to talk? How can they talk? The politicians are not talking. How can they talk? When billions have been shoved into their mouth to keep quiet. So we don't even need to talk much about the traditional rulers. You know what those ones do. So long as those ones are giving money to live a life of opulence, they marry wives upon wives, they buy Rolls Royce, they want to build a mansion and call it palace, they will keep quiet. So when the leaders of the people keep quiet, when the leaders of the people do not engage issues, the insurgents, the herdsmen, the bandits, they are emboldened to act, to roam the country because they know nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. So when you are now talking about there is bloodshed in Nigeria, who is responsible? And we go back to the three elements of a crime. The object, that is 10%. The motive, that is 10%. The opportunity, that is 80%. So who is responsible for the bloodshed? So quickly, we now look at the solution. What is the solution? What should we do? This matter can be resolved without blood, without bloodshed, without battle, without bullet, without a blow. Can easily be resolved. But it all depends on the people. for the politicians, let the people escalate their demand for a new constitution. Because once you get a new constitution, you will solve most of these problems. There will be regional autonomy in a new constitution. The unitary system will be dismantled. And each region, each federating unit will be able to develop at its own space, at its own pace, and utilize, maximize its resources. And it will also be able to arrange its own security. Security will no longer be determined from Abuja, such that a state governor was called that terrorists were going to attack a part of his state. That was the former Enugu state governor. He called the police commissioner in his state. The police commissioner says he has to call Abuja before the police will respond. He called the army GOC, whether it is GOC or brigade commander, I don't know the title, in his state. The head of the army told him he has to call Abuja. He called Abuja, he called the presidency. The president did not pick his call. This was under Buhari. He called the chief of staff. They placed him on hold for some hours. In that period, the terrorists moved into his state. They killed his people. They attacked, I think it was Nimbo then, if I remember correctly, that story. After they had killed, they had destroyed, the terrorists had left. That was when the soldiers and the police now moved into the place to stop the people from retaliation, from pursuing them. Now that is the problem. That's why you need a new constitution. So that each federating unit will be in control of its resources. Those who are supposed to fight for the new constitution, they are collecting constituency allowance. So they keep quiet. And their people are killed. So long as they are satisfied, they don't see anything wrong with Nigeria. So long as those church leaders are satisfied, they get money to build new cathedral, whether they want to buy private jet or to service existing private jet. So long as they are paid to live a life of opulence, they see nothing wrong with Christians being killed. When they talk, they only make political statements, but they do nothing. The same thing for traditional rulers. So, under the circumstances, the people have to defend themselves. And the people that should be engaged are the leaders. Leave the Fulani. I'm not saying we should ignore what the Fulani is doing, but given a choice, if you want rapid answer, engage your leader. Engage your politicians. Engage your church leaders. Engage your traditional rulers. You can easily call them to order. Tell the politicians, nobody will come for your rally. Nobody will come for your campaign. In fact, you dare not come to our area to campaign. We must not see you. If we see you, you are gone. Once they know the people will deal with them, they will wake up. Tell the church leaders, this may be difficult, but I'm telling you, drastic situations require drastic measures. We need to get to the point in which Christians will tell the church leaders, we are not coming to church on Sunday. All of us will sit now at home. Until you send away the people that you brought. Because it is the church leaders that brought APC. Until you send them away, don't expect any of us in your church. We will stay at home on Sunday morning. Bible study, we will sit down in the house. You go ahead and do your church alone. When they get to church and they don't see the people, they will wake up. So long as they keep seeing people in church every Sunday, they will continue to betray the people. It is the DNA, the mentality of the African tribal chief. There is something in the black man, something psychopathic in the black man that makes him immune to the suffering of people around him. So long as he is satisfied, the average black man, so long as he finds his way, he doesn't care about his environment, doesn't care about other people. They can roast, they can die. It does, so long as he is safe and is comfortable. It is a psychopathic mentality. What will I call it now? The urge to work for the common good, to protect collective interest. You really find it in the African race. There's so much individualism. That's why you will see a vehicle traffic. Somebody will come from the back and he will head straight to the front. So long as he can go, he doesn't care about the other people. He gets to the front, it causes more confusion. So long as he manages to find his way, he believes he's smart. All the other people, those ones, they are stupid. You see it everywhere. It's peculiar to the black man. So, this is my submission this morning as Christians. Maybe Christians will start considering this matter, and let us first and foremost engage our church leaders that you cannot kill the people of God because you want to live a comfortable life. It is an open secret. I don't need to convince you. It is an open secret that our church leaders collect money from politicians. Why are they being paid? For their silence. For them to look the other way. While Christians are killed, Christian communities are displaced, and the Christian residents are driven into IDP camps, and the man of God will be buying exotic vehicles, building large cathedrals, saying that God has blessed him. It's an open secret. It's not slander. You that you are hearing me, you know I'm not slandering them. I'm making a statement of fact. The issue now is, are we going to stop them? Or are we going to allow them to continue to do it? Who are the real killers in Nigeria? It is the politicians of the Negro race. It is the religious leaders who are colluding with the killers. It is the traditional rulers who are colluding. Those are the real killers. And those are the people that should be engaged. If they are not stopped, the killing will not stop. If they are not stopped, the kidnapping will not stop. If those leaders of the Negro race are not stopped, Fulani will not stop. And that is where we are. May the Lord help us. May the Lord give his people whatever it is that will ginger them to rise and call their leaders to order. The solution to this problem, we must call our leaders to order. And the best place to start is from inside the church. God bless you. Let's bow our heads and pray.